a cold stone pressed against his cheek, the only comfort in a world reduced to darkness and despair. Each labored breath echoed in the tomb-like silence, a stark counterpoint to the frantic drumbeat of his heart. Claustrophobia coiled around him like a serpent, squeezing the air from his lungs. Yoshie Shiratori was born in Aomori, Japan on July 31, 1907. His father died when he was 2, and his mother abandoned him early. He hunted crabs in Russia after working at a tofu store. After failing at various occupations, he gambled to earn money. He was arrested for petit theft in his teens, his first offense. Shiratori first escaped aged 19. Aomori Prison held Shiratori in 1936. After months of learning the guards' routines, he got out by picking his cell lock with the metal wires surrounding the bathroom's bucket for washing and climbed out of a damaged skylight. He laid planks on his mattress to make guards believe he was sleeping before fleeing. After 3 days, police caught Shiratori while he was taking goods from a hospital. He was given a life sentence for running and trying to steal, and in 1942 he was moved to Akita jail. Shiratori was put in a cell at Akita jail that was made just for escape artists. It had high ceilings, one small window, and smooth copper walls that were too close together. Still, Shiratori was able to climb up the walls and see that the wood that held the window bars in place was starting to rot. He would climb up every night to free the vent until he finally got the wood to come off and the window to open. Shiratori knew that the jail staff could hear his steps on the roof, so he waited for a storm to climb the walls and get away. 3 months later, he showed up at guard Kobayashi's house to ask for help in a case against injustice in the Japanese prison system. As he was one of the only people who had shown kindness and respect to Shiratori during his stay in the Akita prison. However, the guard called the police while Shiratori was in the toilet. Shiratori was then caught and sent back to jail. Shiratori was sent to Abashiri prison in northern Hokkaido in the winter of 1943. It was the northernmost jail in the country. He was put into an open cell in the middle of winter while still wearing summer jail clothes. The guards could beat him down whenever he stood up. Shiratori was furious and vowed to get away. To their surprise, he broke his handcuffs in front of them. Later, he was put in handcuffs that were custom made for him. It took an expert almost 2 hours to open them so that he could take a bath once a week. When the guards brought food, though, he always dripped miso soup on the handcuffs and food slot. Over time, this made them rusty, which Shiratori used to break them. Then, on August 26, 1944, he dislocated both of his shoulders, enabling him to fit out of the narrow food slot in his cell door and escape the prison, using a wartime blackout as cover. After living in an abandoned mine deep in the mountains for 2 years, he descended to a nearby village and learned of the surrender of Japan. He was caught again, though, after cutting and killing a farmer who attacked him after he was caught stealing a tomato from his farm. He said it was an act of self-defense. The Sapporo District Court gave Shiratori the death penalty for his past escapes and the killing of the farmer. In the Sapporo jail, he was put in a cell with high ceilings and windows that were only a few inches above his head. However, the prison guards at Sapporo had so much faith in it that they no longer bothered to handcuff Shiratori. And because they paid so much attention to his ceiling escapes, they neglected the floors. In 1947, he dug his way out by making a tunnel with some of the miso soup bowls, placing the dirt in a small pocket underneath the floorboards and crawling his way out. It is said that after a year of freedom, a police officer gave Shiratori a cigarette in a park. He had been beaten and tortured many times in previous jails, and the closest prison guard he knew had turned him. The kindness touched him deeply. In 1948, cigarettes were a luxury item in Japan. It was clear that Shiratori was a runaway prisoner, and he offered to be turned in. In a second trial, the High Court of Sapporo ruled that the farmer had killed himself in self-defense and had not injured or killed any guards during his escapes, just making them feel awful. The judge commuted his death sentence to 20 years for his escapes. Shiratori achieved his Tokyo prison desire too. After 14 years in Fuchu prison, he was released for good behavior in 1961. He returned to Aomori to visit his daughter despite their distance. He lost his wife in prison. For another decade, Shiratori performed odd jobs to survive. He died of a heart attack aged 71 in 1979. If you enjoyed learning about Yoshie Shiratori, be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories of daring escapes and legendary figures. In the comments below, let us know who you'd like to see featured next.